So there's a lot of differences between white and black interpreters. A black interpreter moves a lot. It's really easy to stand and move around, you know? They sign and talk, and they're very animated with their facial expressions and their body language. They're very involved with the black culture and know a lot about it. Ooh. Sometimes even their stuff goes over my head, and I'm like, wow. Between their facial expressions and everything like that, I feel really connected to a black interpreter, especially a skilled one. It's really shocking to me, the experience. Up until now, I've always had experience with a black interpreter I always ask for their certification, and they're very skilled. And then there's the opposite, a white interpreter. I feel that they're very stiff. They don't really move around that much. Their hands are always placed on their stomach. They'll sign and then put them back down. They'll have facial expressions sometimes, but it's very limited. Their eyebrows, they barely move. Sign, stop, sign, stop. Whereas a black interpreter, very animated. And now I see the difference between the two of them. It's their cultures. I'll explain a little bit more for you, especially an experience that I've had. So I travel a lot with my lectures and everything. And I meet a lot of interpreters, especially because of my lectures. And I discuss everything and plan everything, and they always ask me, what kind of interpreter would you prefer? And I honestly just say somebody that's skilled. Up until now, about a few years, I've always wanted a black interpreter. I've seen a lot of them, and I've always seen them at the conferences and everything. They know my name, and, well, white interpreters, they try to be like black interpreters, and they try and match the voice and the intonation of my voice and register. But when I have a lecture at Gallaudet and there's a meeting there, if there's a black woman sitting there and she's supporting me and she's sitting down in the front, I'll lecture and lecture and lecture. And when I'm finished, they'll tell me that I did a good job. I'll be like, I always get like a good applause and everything. And at the end, they'll always have the thing with the interpreter for the meeting. They'll pass it out and be like, what kind of, was your interpreter okay? Like, it's kind of like an evaluation form or something. I mean, sometimes, like, the interpreter will just go off topic when I'm lecturing, and I get kind of puzzled, like, that was awful. No. You're not even listening to what I said. Like, listen to me. And I give them a couple negative reviews. So I ask and ask around for an interpreter, again, that's experienced. And they're like, well, what's wrong with that interpreter? And I was like, they don't have enough training. For my presentations, it's very formal. And they're like, well, I go to ABAC. Okay, but you don't use it. And you need to interpret more and mingle and go to different towns and everything. The hospital, well, it's very open. So I stand up there with deep discussion about deaf education, and they just look so awkward. They take bits and pieces of my words, and it makes me look like I'm uneducated. And that's a conflict for me, especially with my background of college and all the research that I've done. And it finally hit me. It means I'm black? Well, no. Wait a second. Let me say that again. You got to be careful with their background, and their training. Oh. I'll remember that from now on. So then the next time I go to present at a school, especially a state conference, it'll be fine. Again, I will ask for a good interpreter that's skilled. And I really want to help the black interpreters grow. Again, it's okay. it's all right to find a black interpreter that's working and videotaping while I'm signing specific plans when I'm lecturing. So I sign and I do my paper and I'm all set. And I have one black certification at that school. Yes, I do have one. I found one. So I sent it out and we discussed online and we typed it all up. You know, all the important stuff, all the points of my lecture, let them know what I was doing. And we sat down and, we went through it in depth. So when we finally got there, we sat down again and talked about the lecture. And I said, do you understand me? Do you understand the specific words that I'm using, the register of my lecture, and all the important people that are going to be sitting in the audience? And she said she understood. It's fine. So I'm like, all right, are you ready? Are you nervous? Just calm down. Just got to advocate and support, just give me more. I need more black interpreters that are skilled and more on a higher level. So I was ready. And I got up there, presented. She was sitting down over there, and I would be looking around, and then I'd finally graze over at her and see if she was doing everything. All of a sudden, she stood up and started clapping. I literally wanted to cry. I started crying, and I was like, finally. It inspired me. It literally meant I have a strong bond with the hearing people. So I finally pushed that aside. And the interpreters came up to me and they were like, wow, their voicing matched amazingly. And I was like, yes, awesome. It was like a black, strong voice, awesome register. It matched very well with my lecture. Then we sat down, they were stiff, and I was like, whew. Finally, it was up to my standard. They grew. And I literally said, thank you for the experience. So, again, I left another state conference. I needed an interpreter. And I said, I have one that I have in mind. So my experience with an interpreter, for white up until now, they always, at the college level, near, for lectures, it all varies. It's really what you prefer, a black interpreter. It's just literally my preference of what I've seen when I traveled around. My stories and all the black culture and the stories involved with that. And maybe the stories involved with white interpreters too. I love telling my stories. Especially about black deaf culture and stuff like that. It's important when a black interpreter feels involved and stuff like that. But it's really easy. You just need to find somebody with a good skill that has a nice certification. It's important. But that's what I prefer. They must plan. Wow, at least a little while beforehand. Videos, practice, they really must. Plus, the experience with black interpreters, I feel so connected with them and I really enjoy it.